In 2025, Japan's political world was upended in a way few had predicted or even dared to imagine. That year, Sanai Takai made history by becoming the nation's first female prime minister, breaking through a glass ceiling that had stood for generations. Her stunning victory shattered decades of male-dominated tradition and signaled a deep hunger for change among voters, especially the young and women, who saw in her a new hope for the future. Takai bypassed the usual party power brokers, choosing instead to speak directly to the public about her vision for a pragmatic, self-interested future for Japan, one focused on real results, not empty promises. The old guard was stunned by her meteoric rise, and the world watched with fascination and uncertainty, wondering what her leadership would mean for Japan and the region. Takai's brand of pragmatism made her difficult to categorize. She wasn't a hawk or a radical, but a results-driven leader determined to deliver on her promises and move Japan forward. Her ascent was a powerful symbol in a country still struggling with gender inequality, inspiring women and girls across Japan to believe that real change was possible. But symbolism quickly gave way to the hard reality of governing. Japan found itself caught between its vital U.S. security alliance and its deep economic ties to China, forcing Takai to make tough choices. The world waited anxiously to see which direction Takai would steer Japan in this new era. And her answer, bold and decisive, came swiftly, setting the tone for her historic leadership. Takai's first challenge was the intensifying U.S.-China rivalry. The world expected her to follow Washington's lead, as Japanese leaders had for decades. But Japan's economic reality was complicated. Its prosperity depended on China, even as its security relied on the U.S. Japanese business leaders warned that a trade war with China would devastate their industries. Takai understood the stakes: military security from the U.S., economic lifeblood from China. Her task was to balance these forces without sacrificing Japan's interests. The world braced for her decision, expecting loyalty to Washington, but Takai had other plans. The turning point came quickly. When the U.S. announced sweeping tariffs on Chinese tech, Takai shocked the world by refusing to join. In a televised address, she declared that protectionism would only harm Japan's economy and workers. This public break from the U.S. sent shockwaves through Washington and global markets. Takai reframed the issue. Her duty was to protect Japanese jobs, not fight another nation's trade war. Her stance resonated with the public, tapping into a desire for a more independent foreign policy. Diplomats fanned out across Asia, explaining Japan's new commitment to free trade and regional stability. Takai's move wasn't just economic, it was a bold geopolitical statement. She positioned Japan as an independent power broker, not a follower. The world's third-largest economy was charting its own course. Takai's decision was shaped by urgent warnings from Japan's business elite. In private meetings, CEOs from giants like Toyota and Sony made it clear: a trade war with China would cripple supply chains, trigger layoffs, and erode Japan's global competitiveness. Decoupling from China, they argued, would take years and cost billions, with no guarantee of success. The message was blunt. Washington's demands amounted to economic self-destruction. Takai listened, realizing the U.S. security agenda clashed with Japan's economic survival. Backed by the Keidanren, she framed her policy as pragmatic, not ideological. With the support of industry, she felt ready to withstand U.S. pressure. Her choice was rooted in economic reality, not political posturing. The business community's backing gave her the confidence to act. Japan's economic ties to China ran deep. By 2025, China was Japan's largest trading partner, with over $380 billion in annual trade, far surpassing trade with the U.S. Japanese investment in China topped $150 billion, with over 30,000 Japanese companies operating there. These links powered Japanese industry and innovation, funding jobs and R&D back home. Cutting off China would devastate profits and disrupt global supply chains. The US was a vital ally, but Japan's day-to-day economic survival depended on China. Takai's policy wasn't about favoring Beijing, it was about protecting Japan's future. The numbers made the choice clear. Washington's response was swift and severe. Formal protests were lodged, media outlets erupted in outrage, and a diplomatic chill quickly set in between the two allies. The US government made it clear that they viewed Japan's move as a serious breach of trust, and the tension was palpable across both capitals. US officials openly accused Prime Minister Takai of betraying the decades-old alliance, warning that her actions risked undermining regional stability and playing directly into China's hands. The sense of betrayal was echoed in headlines and political commentary across the United States. But in Japan, the reaction could not have been more different. The public mood was jubilant, with people celebrating in the streets and expressing newfound pride in their nation's assertiveness. Takai's approval ratings soared to unprecedented heights as the Japanese public rallied behind her bold, independent stance. Many saw her as a leader, finally putting Japan's interests first. Media outlets across Japan praised her courage and determination. Social media platforms buzzed with hashtags supporting Takai, and talk shows debated her historic move with admiration. Business leaders and labor unions, often at odds, found common ground in applauding Takai for defending Japanese jobs and industries. Her decision was seen as a victory for workers and entrepreneurs alike. Even opposition parties, usually quick to criticize, struggled to find fault with a move that had become so overwhelmingly popular with voters. Their hesitation was evident in parliamentary debates. For the first time in decades, a Japanese prime minister managed to unite the country behind a bold foreign policy decision, bridging political divides and inspiring national pride. Takai's surge in domestic support gave her the political strength and confidence needed to weather the storm of US backlash, reinforcing her resolve to stand firm. The message from Japan was unmistakable. National interests would come first, even if it meant challenging old alliances and facing international criticism. As the sun rose over Tokyo, it was clear to all. A new era of Japanese autonomy and self-determination had truly begun. With Japan forging its own path, Takai's government revived talks of a common Asian currency zone. The idea, Japan, China, and South Korea would trade using a regional currency basket or digital currency, reducing reliance on the US dollar. This would shield Asian economies from US monetary policy and sanctions. The proposal gained traction in Beijing and Seoul, eager to reduce dollar dependence. Trilateral working groups began real policy negotiations. Challenges remained: historical mistrust and technical hurdles. But momentum was real. The US viewed the project as a direct threat to dollar supremacy. Japan's leadership signaled a revolutionary shift toward an integrated Asian economic order. Under Takai's bold leadership, Japan's global image underwent a remarkable transformation. No longer seen as merely a compliant ally, Japan emerged as a confident, independent power, ready to chart its own course on the world stage. Polls revealed a significant shift in public opinion. Japanese citizens increasingly viewed their Asian neighbors as vital economic partners, recognizing the importance of regional cooperation, even as the United States remained a crucial security ally and friend. Takai's nuanced strategy was clear: maintain strong military ties with the US for stability, but at the same time, deepen economic integration with China to secure Japan's prosperity and influence in Asia. This approach led to the formal adoption of a new doctrine, strategic ambiguity, as a cornerstone of national policy, allowing Japan to navigate complex international dynamics with flexibility. Japan's refusal to join US-led economic containment efforts sent shockwaves through the Western alliance, weakening its unity and inspiring other allies to reconsider their own positions under American pressure. Takai's bold move fundamentally reshaped the US-China rivalry, giving middle powers across Asia more agency and a stronger voice in regional affairs. Her leadership marked a decisive break from decades of post-war dependence, establishing Japan as a central pillar of a new, more balanced Asia. The path Takai chose was undeniably risky, filled with uncertainty and challenges, but it was a path uniquely Japan's own, reflecting the nation's resilience and determination. Under Takai's guidance, Japan became a pivotal player on the global stage, actively shaping not only its own destiny, but also influencing the future direction of the world. The era of true Japanese autonomy had finally arrived, ushering in a new chapter of hope, leadership, and possibility for the nation and its people.